Good afternoon, everyone. We just wait for everyone to install the Zoom client and join us today. So let's Barry, it's now 12 sharp. We start in a minute.
Perfect. Yeah.
Let's see. The room is getting busier. Good to see some of you again. So just a couple of There's still people joining. So if you have just dialed in, welcome. We're waiting a couple of seconds to get to give a chance to everyone to join us before we join. Before we start. Good. Right. We go ahead. This session is recorded. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Morteza Stegi, and I want to thank you for joining us today for a topic that has become urgent across the digital workspace landscape, the endgame of app fee. For more than a decade, app fee has been a dependable pillar in many enterprise environments. But as we all know, its life cycle approaching a hard stop. And IT leaders are now faced with a strategic decision that will impact cost, user experience, compatibility, and long-term sustainability. Today's session is designed to give you clarity, structure, and a realistic decision framework. We will explore three scenarios organizations are considering right now: the good, the bad, and the ugly, each with its own trade-offs and operational realities. From staying as it is to blending app fee with modern technologies like FlexUp and MSIX, all the way to modernization with dynamic application delivery. Our goal with this webinar is simple: help you to understand these three options, what they mean for your environment, and how to get ahead instead of being forced into a reactive decision later. To walk you through these three scenarios, I'm joined by my colleague, Barry Haveman, as our technical lead for the Northern Europe and Liquidware. Barry has been working hands-on in the digital workspace management since 2009 and has deep experience across Citrix, VMware, Omnissa, AVD, and Windows 365, among others. He will take you through the technical realities, the pros and the cons, and what a modernized application delivery approach looks like in practice. Just before I hand over things to Barry, a quick note: feel free to participate during this webinar with us. So feel free to put your questions in the Q&A throughout the session, and we will address them live where possible. With that, Barry, the stage is yours.
Thanks, Morteza, and welcome everyone. And thank you for joining the webinar. Today we talk about the different scenarios that are coming our way or already are on our path for the last couple of years. Things around Windows 11 migration, the modern workplace in all the different scenarios that we have. And of course, the main reason for this webinar, the end of life for AppV, which will start in April 26. And yes, we know that's just the management server, right? So the AppV publishing server that's going end of life. But everyone knows that this is the start of saying goodbye to AppV in the end, because we don't know for sure when it's the real end date for the AppV client and AppV sequencer, and that gives us a lot of uncertainty, right? So We walked through a couple of scenarios and how Liquidware is able to help you manage AppV and all the other scenarios Morteza talked about. Now, the first one, and we start, obviously, you already saw this is based on a movie theme. We start with the bad scenario. And the bad scenario is where we keep doing what we are doing today. We have AppV packages and we just want to deploy it, for the next couple of years, maybe to our workplace, Windows 10, VDI, Windows 11, maybe the modern workplace. But the fact is that we don't want to change. So we keep our existing AppV packages. That, of course, doesn't take much time. We just need something else to deploy the AppV packages. And we can obviously include options like deploy configs and user configs to the solution, at least if you do it with ProFunity, right? That's one of the scenarios that we look at. And maybe if you are choosing for the really bad scenario, you keep your AppV management server, but I recommend you not to, because that's really going end of life and is not receiving any updates anymore. So the first scenario, we have a clean Windows 10 machine in this case, which is having no applications installed, just our ProFunity client. And our friend Blondie is logging in. We are going to look at an empty desktop. And then we're going to show you how we can achieve the goal by delivering existing AppV packages to this VDI desktop. So first, there's no applications installed, just a vanilla Windows 10 OS. And we need to go to our management console to add the AppV packages, but also add ways to influence the behavior of the desktop. So users can force a refresh of the session, or we can force the refresh from the centralized management console by adding triggers. So I'm just showing you, we create a trigger that is triggering the AppV module within our solution. And users can use that shortcut in the start menu to trigger that load of new applications or removal of old applications. Right? So you are in control as an end user, but also as an admin when applications are coming in. So first we go to the AppV module. We select one of the conditions, right? Maybe a Windows OS condition or AD group membership condition, Entra ID group membership condition, or just simple Windows 10 or 11 domain user like filters. So we point to the path where our AppV packages are stored, the existing AppV packages. We do not need to modify the packages. And we show it that we just need to address that with the apps we want to deploy. So in this scenario, I will deploy Firefox, an older version, and Pigeon, right? Two simple AppV applications. We select publish from local cache. That means that we cache the AppV locally and all operations occur on the local machine. So we do not rely on a network anymore. That's optional. You can also choose to publish from network. That's a choice, right? Depends on your type of desktop, physical persistent desktop or non-persistent VDI desktop. So we use the refresh apps button, and then the applications will come in, right? Like I said, that's a trigger. So it immediately starts triggering the new configuration file that we deployed, and it looks for new AppV assignments. And now the Pigeon and Firefox application comes in, and we can start using the applications. There's nothing else, no different user experience for the end user compared to what they did previously with the AppV management server. This is where we store the AppV packages in the program data because we use cache locally. But like I said, that's an option when you work with ProFunity to deploy the applications. So that's option one, right? There's no innovation in there. We just use another solution to deploy the applications, right? So you, in the end, extend your way of using AppV packages. But think about this, that keep using AppV, and there is no um, horizon for you to look at another solution or a other way of delivering applications, in the end you will get stuck, right? Maybe if there's a new OS or there is an issue with the AppV client due to updates in the Windows OS, that might trigger you to have a emergency migration in the end because you are still relying on AppV with a lot of packages, right? So think about this really carefully. It is a solution. You can use another supported way of delivering the AppV packages, but you will see the consequences someday when AppV going out of the OS, which might happen, right? We don't know for sure when, but it might happen one day when Windows 11 is end of life, for example. So things to think about. But a different migration or scenario could be the ugly, right? That is, there's a solution for everything. We can still deliver AppV packages, but now we are also looking at a replacement solution, right? A different approach to deliver applications while keeping the same benefits of centralized package management, easy packaging for complex applications, right? You don't need silent installers and all that kind of things. You are in charge, you are in control when you want to configure the end user application, when you want to put scripts and configuration for the user profile in the package. But now we continue to use it with FlexApp. But of course, obviously, we see a lot of organizations that do not have the resources or time to overnight migrate to something else, right? If you have 300 AppV packages, that will take you a lot of time to migrate that away to another solution. So an option is to do that partially, right? There's no hard deadline as far as we know that we talked about for AppV. So we just want a smooth transition path, right? So you can keep using AppV packages and start packaging new applications in FlexApp format or MSX, if you will, and you can continue to deliver all the three different formats with the same management console. So we just showed you the Profile Unity Management Console that is able to deliver FV packages. And we are showing you now the same thing, but now together with FlexApp packages that we created and also MSX packages that are off the shelf, right? So if some of the vendors supply you with an MSX package, which is working, fine, you can use that side by side with AppV and side by side with FlexApp. Now let me show you that scenario on the same desktop we just used for the previous demo, which is also a Windows 10 desktop. So we continue to work on the desktop. We need to go back to the management console and we start adding applications that were previously packaged by me. So we start by using the FlexApp module, right? And we select some of the applications that are in our inventory and select them to install, between quotes, on the end user machine. I said install because it looks like the applications are installed. We show them in the program files. We show them in the uninstall programs list. We have file type associations. Everything is available to integrate with the OS and give the end user a really good user experience. And at the same time, it's still that package that we can take away from the end user, unassign from the end user, and remove from the OS without leaving any noise behind. So no program files folders that are keep on the end user machine, and no registry keys that are left behind. So best scenario to deliver and remove applications if you're looking into application lifecycle management. So we assigned a couple of apps, and I'm just now refreshing my desktop again with the trigger that we configured. And you can see the apps are already coming in. 7-zip, and we also deployed the Azure Information Protection. And as you can see, it's integrated in the same way in the start menu and on the desktop for an end user. So the user won't see any difference between an AppV application, locally installed application, or FlexApp application. But now in this case, we attach the application as a hard disk to the OS. So you can see that with the PowerShell window that I'm showing you. 7-zip and Azure Information Protection are attached to the machine as a virtual hard disk But like I said, available to you as an end user as a normal application. You won't see any difference. And again, it can work side by side. So I can start Firefox, I can start Pigeon, of course, together with the FlexApp applications in the same session. This is the way forward if you don't want to migrate overnight, if you don't make any major changes to the platform under the applications. So if you think about, just replacing AppV, this is the easiest way forward and not taking the highest risk of the overnight migration. Now, at the same way, we are delivering a MSX application. So I just browse to my file share, point to the MSX application, and I can choose the same options. Register from network, which is app attach like, or register from local cache, which means we download the application locally and we start registering it on the machine for you. We deploy the configuration again to my file share and we are done. I will show you the MSX application in the next demo together with the other options we have. So taking all the options into account, this is a pretty good way forward, right? Effective. We don't need overnight migrations. We don't need all the resources now to migrate your packages and retest all the applications at once. So we can mix it, but it requires some planning and dual management, of course, but because now you have AppV sequencing, you have FlexApp packaging, both in your organization, and you ask your packagers to work with both products, right? It's doable. It's not rocket science, but it requires dual management. Simple as that. So you have to think about that if you choose this scenario, if this is the best way for you. It could also help you in migrating to another platform, right? You can still use AppV packages and FlexApp packages on VDI and slowly move to a modern workplace with the FlexApp packages. In essence are the same packages, right? We can deploy to other platforms as well. So this is something to think about when you migrate away from your old platform. Then we have the next one, the third scenario, which is in our scenario, the best scenario, right? We migrate existing AppV packages. That means we get rid of AppV as a technology from the OS. We do not rely anymore on the AppV client, and we fully migrate to FlexApp and maybe together with MSIX, right? If you have AppV packages now, you can remove the AppV packages from your infrastructure. You can disable the AppV client and not take any security risk and start the package delivery with FlexApp. Do you need to repackage all the applications? Not 100%, right? We can migrate your applications. There's a migration scenario for that. And we can, of course, create clean FlexApp packages from scratch. That's always the option that you have, right? We are fully replacing the management infrastructure. That was already done in the previous demo, of course. So it's future-proof, right? We can start delivering to any platform. We can use the modern platform, the legacy platform, on-prem, cloud. We do not require anything in or on-premise. So it's your choice. If you're going to Windows 365, fine. If you go to AVD, fine. You do not need any physical file shares, as an example, or AD integration if you don't want that. But it offers you centralized management and visibility for all the applications. And like I said, you can mix with MSX whenever you want to. So there's no need to also get rid of MSX packages if they are working for you, right? That's the question. So what does it look like when we convert an application? This is the packaging console that we offer. This is the FlexApp packaging console. And we can use that to create applications from scratch, like I mentioned. But we can also use that to convert from AppV or MSIX as a fact, and also app volumes. So if that's an application format that you already have, we can use that to migrate to FlexApp. We just take the files and the registry and maybe some other data from the package, and we convert it to a native Flex app package. That means we do not rely, like I said, on the old infrastructure anymore. We can get rid of the AppV client in the OS because there's nothing left in the package from AppV. So I take my same package, the Firefox package, a really old version, 64, and we convert it to FlexApp and FlexApp 1. And for people that don't know FlexApp yet, FlexApp is the file format based on VHDX that is attached over the network, optionally also cached locally. But we also have FlexApp 1, which is everything from FlexApp, but then compressed into a single executable, which makes it a really portable format. And you can deploy that with any solution. Of course, also with our own management console and our agent. But you can choose to do that with, Intune Company Portal, which I will address later. So we are converting it, and as you saw on the file share, we are creating a temporary folder. We create the VHDX, and we are moving all the stuff from the AppV package into the VHDX container. Then we try to play back the application, see if the application is ready to play back and optionally also to deploy to the endpoint. And then we also convert it into a FlexApp 1 executable. So we added the AppV, and now we have a VHDX package, the FlexApp, and also the executable at the same time. This is the same case when you start a new application package. You will also always get both formats if you enable that. Now looking at the package, it's a clean migration. Everything that was in AppV will also be in the FlexApp package, right? So this comes down to how good is the quality of my AppV packages, and are we wanting to migrate the package? So we just see the Mozilla folders, the Mozilla registry. There's no shortcut yet in the package. Someone decided to remove it from the package. So we can easily add that shortcut that is pointing to the FlexApp folder. So I will call the shortcut Firefox FlexApp so we can see the difference with the other applications we deployed. And we just point to the Firefox executable in the program files location. So this is sign number 1 that we just launched applications from the native file location. This is also the reason why other applications are able to work together with FlexApp, and FlexApps can work together with other FlexApps. Because if you, for example, open Outlook and you click on a link and the link is expecting a internet browser on a specific location, it will find it there. So you can think about, complex applications that have taskbar items that need to be started at launch, and then it will integrate with the application as soon as you launch the other application. All the kind of scenarios will just work like in the medical sector or other sectors that we are facing. So we migrated the app. Now I'm deploying not a traditional FlexApp, but a FlexApp 1, so you can see the difference at the same time. So we choose to deliver FlexApp 1. It's on the converted file folder, Firefox 64. So I copy that path, point to the executable in my module, and as you can see, it's the same kind of module that we had for AppV and for MSX. Just point to the network, choose to register it locally or just register it from the network. So again, that's an option for you to choose. We update the deployment, deploy the configuration to the file share, and then we go back to our demo machine, right? And what you will see is that when using the application, it's the same user experience, right? We just see that the application shortcuts are brought to the start menu or to the desktop. So the end user is just using a normal application. So again, we do the refresh. And now we will see that the application Firefox is coming in on the program data again, just in the cache folder that we saw for AppV and also for MSX. There we go, FlexApp 1. It's downloaded. So again, with the trigger, we start the download of the application and we register it to the machine, and it will be available immediately. We now also see the other application based on Mozilla, which was the MSX application, right? So also these can work side by side, obviously, which might be a great use case if you just need some of the features of MSX, or if your vendor is delivering you an MSX by default. Right? I don't see many vendors doing that already, but maybe in the future, right? We don't know. So here we are, two different versions of Firefox side by side, based on FlexApp and based on MSX. So this is a way forward, right? We migrated first from the AppV management server to our management plane and start delivering the native AppV packages as is. No changes required on the AppV packages. Then the next scenario was we start mixing AppV and FlexApp together, right? You have a you have a paced migration. You can say whenever you want to migrate a specific application to the new technology, right? You're in charge. You can decide when your end date must be for your migration, and we can also mix and match with MSX. That's what we saw. And the last scenario is that we completely get away from AppV, get rid of the AppV client, start migrating applications automatically to a FlexApp format, and still are able to change the package, right? So from then on, we can still add application lifecycle management to that old package that we created with AppV5 10 years ago, and now is converted to FlexApp as a native FlexApp format, ready to use on any platform that we talked about today, be it Windows 365 or any other modern platform. So how do we look at the modern workplace as Liquidware, but also how do we work together with companies like Microsoft to make that happen? First of all, we have Azure and Intune, right? That's the two major platforms that are used by end user computing to deliver workspaces and also to deliver user experience, right? Applications and settings. The first one is Azure App Attach, which makes sense if you talk about applications. We have native App Attach integration from the start, built in within the Liquidware Management Console, so we can select a subscription, and we will sync our application packages that we package with our package console into the Azure App Attach portal. That means that you can now start delivering applications with native Azure tooling without the use of our management console. Our management console is just the man in the middle. So you package an application with the package console. It will add it to the inventory, which is on the left. And you can leave it with that. You don't need to access the management console anymore. You don't need to access it to assign it to a specific group. You can do that all in Azure, in the native Azure portal, using the App Attach system. The other one is Intune, right? The company portal, maybe just deploy apps from Intune itself and not give self-service to end users. So this is also a great use case. And I will show you a little bit information of how we do it. Like I said, for Azure App Attach, we natively integrate with FlexApp. We can use our own storage. We can use Azure Blob Storage. We can use Azure Files, whatever you want. And we will deliver the application, even really complex applications, with our own agent. So there's one prerequisite. You will use the packaging console to create a FlexApp package, which is added to the inventory in the management console. You don't need to use the management console, like I said. And then the second one is we will require our agent in your AVD base image, meaning we can work with Azure App Attach then. So the App Attach system can send us the request to mount the application based on FlexApp. As you can see here, this is the path for the package, and we will use our own executable to mount the application based on, on-demand or register at logon options. So this is the native experience you already have if you use App Attach. We offer the same functionality, but now with the high compatibility ratio from FlexApp, without requiring you to use the management console that we bring. Right? So that's a big option for companies that are highly standardized on the Microsoft tooling. Then the next one is Intune. We all know Intune, has its own experience in terms of deployment times and synchronization, right? So, but if you're happy with that, we can still allow you to work with FlexApp. That means that the FlexApp 1 executables that we created, like I said, it's a portable format, so we can deploy it with anything. We can add that to Intune. That means we have a community tool that converts our FlexApp 1 executable into an Intune Win file, and we can upload it to Intune automatically for you. And we just need a couple of command lines to activate the package. Right? So as soon as the application is deployed, it's still a FlexApp application. That means if we decommission the application from Intune, we don't require any complex uninstalls or updates. It's just the stop of the container and the application is removed from the endpoint. So it's Intune. If you're addicted to Intune or used to Intune, that's fine. But you will have the benefits of application packaging, FlexApp application packaging, sorry, and the benefits of having that containerized application that removes all the file system information and registry information as soon as you stop the app. So that's a huge benefit compared to native Win32 application deployment. This also means you do not have to script complex applications into Win format because everything that you have done during installation is in the package. So it's just deploying the container. There's no installation involved anymore. There are a lot of command lines available for you. If you look at the documentation page, we have a lot of command lines available for FlexApp 1 that can help you deliver applications in your own way. But this is the basis that you need to just deploy the app and remove it. But like I said, Intune has its own, behavior. If you like that, that's fine. If you don't like that, we can help you as well with the management console, which is also compatible with all the native cloud native formats, the modern workplaces, and adding the extra user experience that your users might require by delivering applications our way, but now from a cloud native perspective. So what we do is the application executable that we just deployed to the Windows 10 desktop as a FlexApp 1 executable, we will now copy and upload to a Azure storage container. So for people that don't know Azure storage containers, it's a blob container that is, you can compare that with a file share, but now on cloud native storage, right? You can work with that over the internet. It's HTTPS based, so no SMB based anymore. And our agent is fully compatible with that. And we can, talk directly to the blob storage, download applications from there, and start using it on the endpoint. That means also the configuration that we use to deploy to the file share is now moving to the blob storage. And that's why I said we don't rely on any on-premise solution anymore, already for years, but you can completely move to Azure in case you want. So what we see here is that we are uploading the FlexApp 1 executable, the Firefox 64 version. It's uploaded. Now we have it in our folder structure, which is Modern Workplace, FlexApp 1s, and then we have the Firefox 6402 executable. We will go to another configuration in my management console, which is the Modern Workplace configuration, which has the same capabilities, but it's just deploying to Azure Blob Storage. Like I said, so we do not rely on the existing local infrastructure anymore. So what I need to do is point directly to the Azure path, which starts with AZ in our case, then add the path Modern Workplace and paste the FlexApp 1 folder and Firefox name into the path. Register from local cache because laptops or Modern Workplaces can go offline, obviously, and we save the assignment. That's it. We can integrate with Entra ID for group memberships if you want. So you can use all the different techniques that you're already using today on premise. So we deploy the application config. It's deployed to the Azure Blob Storage. and then we can go to our modern workplace. So this is now a Windows 11 workplace. It's managed with Intune. It's brought up with Autopilot, so that combination is a great use case. And we just need Intune to install our agent as a prerequisite, right? And from there, we can take control of the machine. We can download the application from Azure Blob Storage as an example. We also integrate with other cloud vendors like AWS and Google. But simply we see Azure as the widely used solution here in the area. So this is my Windows 11 desktop. The machine is downloading the executable for FlexApp. You can see it will be added to the start menu as soon as it's downloaded as a full file. We can check the cache again. So there it is, Pro Unity cache folder, FlexApp 1, the Firefox 64 version. Now on a cloud native machine, we added it to the start menu, Firefox FlexApp, and we can start using it. So this was the same package that was an AppV in an on-premise world. We converted to FlexApp format, FlexApp 1 format at the same time, and then we started using it on a modern workplace without uploading to Intune, without converting into Intune Win, without using app attach, all native FlexApp deployment based on the Microsoft technology, on top of the Microsoft technology. So that might be the easiest way to do it. But of course, it requires some change, right? It requires you to onboard a new management plane to your organization. It requires you to onboard a new packaging technology, but it will give you a lot of benefits because you're ready for the future. It's a really scalable solution. We proved that at a lot of worldwide organizations already, and it's ready for what next. Because if you decide to move from, I don't know, any vendor on-premise VDI to Azure in the cloud tomorrow or next year, the work you have already done with FlexApp on your Windows 10 image or your Windows 11 local image is still applicable to the new solution you are moving to next year. We have a lot of reference cases and customers that were using Citrix on-prem and moved to Windows 365 or Azure Virtual Desktop without changing the packages or profile solutions that they had from Liquidware, and they were ready and having a head start to do that. So I think that's a great way to look forward into change and also adoption of modern technologies within Azure as an example, together with what we can offer at Liquidware. And that's your decision, right? What's your end game? You need to think about the effort you can make now, the costs that are affected with it, repackaging or keeping old systems up and running for another couple of years, or move to a smooth solution for the future. And that's up to you. And with that, I just have one slide to go, Morteza. I want to address something which is interesting for a lot of people that are working with FlexApp already, that might be in the webinar, or people that are looking into, other areas like automation. There has been a great release last month on the liquidware.com website. Under the resource tab, you will find the Liquidware Sparks area. And Sparks are community tools, right? Brought by sales engineers or maybe from the field. And we publish that on the website as tools, supported by SEs or the developers from the solutions. That will help you with, all that kind of task. Automation, smart updating from cloud-based repositories like Winget, Chocolatey, and that kind of stuff. So that's really a great way forward for you to think about, always up-to-date application, lifecycle management. So just take a look if you're interested. And with that, I think we have some time for Q&A.
Absolutely. Thanks, Barry. It was a great story. Again, I think first time I saw that was on the app management event last month in Utrecht. So we did get some questions. So as I said at the beginning, the Q&A chat box is open. So in case you um, do have questions, please do ask them. Some of the questions that came in let's go through some of them. Hey, Mark is asking, is mixing FlexApp with MSIX a recommended approach? And if so, in which cases does it make most sense?
So mixing MSX and FlexApp is a great way forward, right? Because MSX, according to Microsoft, is the future of how they deliver applications. Um, in reality, we don't see much MSX yet, right? But if you, like I said, if you receive MSX packages from your vendor, which are ready to start, why not, right? So just use that format that you will get from vendors and put it in your deployment scenarios of your choice. But for all the other applications that are not MSX ready or delivered with MSIX format, you can use it side by side with FlexUp. So easy packaging again for MSIs, executables, and scripts together with the MSIX format. They
Yeah,
will not bite each other in some form, so it can even have benefits of isolate some of the stuff in MSX and go forward.
good. Hey, Barry, another question is how much effort is involved in converting app fees to FlexUp in a real world environment?
Yeah, so I just showed one application, right? Converting a simple application, Firefox. Um, what we offer is to do bulk migrations. So you can import, 100 packages at once. We did a customer with 223 packages a couple of months ago. And you just wait for all the applications to finish, right? And you can have a overview of applications that are finished the migration or failed the migration. We saw that over 90% was successfully converted. So that's, somewhere around that area is feasible. Um, and based on the packages that you put in, there might be some rework, right? Like I showed you, maybe there's a shortcut missing. So you can add the shortcut really simple. Maybe you need to re-add a script that was used in the AppV package. We can add that script in the same way we did with the shortcut. So it's really easy to do some little rework, but I would advise if you have, an application that is not working after conversion and you might need to troubleshoot it and it takes you a lot of time, just start with a fresh package, right? That's then I think the easiest way to do it. But for all the other applications that are working fine, just use the migration scenario. Yeah.
Good. I will get 3 minutes left. I'm go through a couple of more questions. From a user experience perspective, which of the three scenarios deliver the most consistency, at least disruption?
Well, disruption on the end user side, I don't think that really matters because the three scenarios are delivering the application, right? So end users will maybe not even see the difference. Um, what I do say is that if you deliver different package formats like AppV and FlexApp side by side, applications can behave differently because AppV packages are obviously isolated into its own bubble and might not integrate with other apps, but FlexApp does, right? So that's something I think from a user experience perspective that FlexApp will do a better job there. So that will be the best choice there. But just based on how the applications operate, right? Because applications 9 times out of 10 are not designed to run inside a bubble. They are used to get access to system resources or other applications.
Good. Hey, Barry, another one. Do you see, I think that's the question where they ask, do you see customers delaying the action until the last moment? And what are the risks for waiting too long?
We do see him, yeah, obviously, and I think there's always a good reason to do it. Maybe you do not have resources for people to do it, to migrate, right? It always takes time, or just choosing the easiest way for the next couple of years by just using the FV packages. So they are there, absolutely. But you are moving the risk to, some other end date. That's the problem with that. And you will risk a emergency migration if one day for some reason the AppV client will stop working, right? It can always happen. We do not know it. Microsoft decided to stop development on the AppV client, period. So yes, they will add major security risks and fix that still, but there is no functionality added. And we expect that the next iteration of the Windows OS might not have the AppV client anymore. That's a real world scenario. And then you are,
Yeah.
how to say that in nice words. You have to do the work then, right? The
Yeah.
emergency migration. So
Because Barry, till I think 12 months ago, around this time, we always said app fee is end of life. And all of a sudden, Microsoft came and said app fee is not end of life. We just extend the maintenance. It was already in the extended maintenance mode. What's the difference, right? It's you keep it.
in fact, there is no big difference. The only thing I said is about the security fixes. If there's a high risk security issue in the client, they will still fix it. But other than that, it's dead, right? The last release from AppV was almost 8 years ago,
2018, right? Was it 2018?
2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can do the math yourself. It was already dead for a couple of years, and it will not get any new life in the next couple of years.
And I think you see it already with Microsoft building the integration in AVD, enabling Flex App to be, it's not. I always say it's not really the core business, right? The core business is Azure consumption, but I'm not a techie. You are, uh, but yeah, they did build the integration for a reason, I think.
That's true, yeah. They just want to enable customers to bring their applications to, for example, Azure, or in the end, Windows 365 and Intune. So they need some other vendors to help them because simply AppV and MSX isn't good enough today. So
Okay. And
yeah.
then a couple of questions, and then we finalize it. It's on the license part. No, FlexApp 1 comes as part of FlexApp, so there is no extra license cost needed. So don't worry about that.
Mhm.
The migration is part of the solution, so we won't charge you for the migration. It's already out of the box, so it's not something that we need to build. It's already there, so it helps you. Then,
The same is for automation, by the way. So if you
yeah.
buy FlexApp, the automation engine is integrated in the license as well.
Then the license model is a subscription license model. We have concurrent. We have named obviously for FlexUp one. It doesn't the concurrency doesn't make really sense in that part. There are more questions, but we promise you we stop quarter 2 since it's UK has to start with a lunch. In the Netherlands, we almost have another 15 minutes to have lunch, and we also, believe it or not, we have some folks from United States. So I would like to allow them to get some coffee. So for now, in case we have not answered your questions, or if in case you have, there are some shy guys here. So in case you have some questions, please drop them by email info@liquidware.com in case you would like to see it. We do have the Flex app over a cup of coffee. So, with the Flex app one, please check our website. For now, I'd like to thank you all for joining us today and being with us. So hopefully we've been able to give you another, insight of what we can do with, app fee being end of life. Believe it or not, the product is end of life. There's only another message around it, which comes from Microsoft. So, in April, the server side will be end of life anyway. So with that, I'd like to thank you, Barry, for your story again. I enjoyed it again, and I'd like to thank all the attendees for joining us today. And be aware, this session has been recorded, so it will be shortly be available on our social media channels. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day. Cheers. Bye bye.
Thanks.